Woke up this morning, coffee in hand, flipped on the screen, my favorite man. Crafty's on the TV, chipping that stone with obsidian and flint. He's in the zone. He's shaping the future with a hit and a crack, building the legends, ain't no turning back. With every sharp edge, he's teaching the way of the ancients who thrived back in the day. Crafty on the TV, talking that smack, stone carving dreams, never looking back. From Texas to Vermont, Crafty studies us, chiseling the past, building futures for us. Staying strong, crafting a world where we all belong. Underneath those layers of dust and grit, finds the magic every little bit. A sculptor of stories, buried in the ground. Each piece he uncovers wisdom abound. With every collision, the sparks start to fly. As the old world awakens, we question why. He's digging deeper where the shadows play, reviving old crafts that could fade away. Crafty on the TV, talking that smack, stone carving dreams, never looking back. From Texas to Vermont, Crafty studies us, chiseling the past, building futures for us. Wielding the hammer, he's steady and strong, crafting a world where we all belong. And in this life, we're all just searching for our place in the world, a way to keep working. With the flick of his wrist, he brings forth the light. In every gray morning, he makes it feel right. So gather around, let the stories unfold. Crafty's our guide through the young and the old. With the sun rising high and the day moving on, Crafty carves dreams till the light is all gone. He's shaping the future one chip at a time. With every creation, he's keeping the rhyme. From the heartland of Texas to the mountains of green, the legacy lives on through the stonework unseen. With every perspective, he's showing the way. Crafty keeps going, come whatever may. Crafty on the TV, talking that smack, stone carving dreams, never looking back. From Texas to Vermont, Crafty studies us, chiseling the past, building futures for us. Wielding the hammer, he's steady and strong, crafting a world where we all belong. So here's to the mornings with coffee in hand and Crafty on the screen, the true heart of the land. With a hit and a crack, he's paving the way through stone and through story. He inspires the day.
Hello, hello. Since we did not have slabs last night, Wednesday is usually my slab night, we're going to do slabs tonight. And these are from specific people. So, it's a combination of challenge and slabs. Yeah. I've got lots more challenge rocks. So, my challenge nights are Tuesday, Thursday. Okay? And I might make it Friday also. Right? I should. And then my natural tools Saturday, Sunday. Monday is rock to point. Okay, so Monday's live streams are rock to point, and then Tuesday, Thursdays are challenges, and probably Fridays now also. Wednesday, slab day. Saturday, Sunday, natural tool days. Yeah. Why don't I write that down? Well, I don't know. It changes. Alan Cole is the first one in the house. Mr. Jim is here. Marty Wybe. Hello, hello. Jorge is here. Hello. Scott Goldsberry. Stoneface. Chris Cox. Good evening. Dockenstein. I got one of your One of your slabs, Hornstone. Graylin Landry, good evening. Chris Lithick is here. How's everyone tonight? Pretty good. Good evening, good evening. Sam Drake says hi. Stoneface, Jeff Gin. Jeff Gin says fog tonight looks like... No, I don't do flake over grind. I mean, they call these slabs. I mean, I guess. But these are not ground down to the nice finish that flake over grind usually has. These are just slabs. Chronic Doomscroller is here. Jeremy, hey. Who else? Who else? Flake Scarred, howdy all. Stoneface hanging in there, still above the grass. Yeah. Alan Young is here. Let's see, Pat's been on a roll the past few days. Well, I guess so. I don't know. I broke some things the past couple of days. I'm on a roll for breaking stuff. Yeah. Sam Folks is here. David Solomon, I want an obsidian duck. No. Nope. No eccentrics yet. Polo says, want to hear a poem I wrote for my cousin? I can't hear it from the chat. You can write it in there. You can type it in. Let's see. Alan Young, flake over flake. Yes, let's do some flake over flake. Vermont, beautiful. This time of year, Vermont is very lush and very nice. Yeah. And I got lots and lots of raspberries. My raspberries have come in, and the lower half is for the groundhog, and the upper half of the bushes of raspberries are for me. Yeah. Although I did find a sneaky squirrel going after the raspberries today. So I don't know. But the groundhog usually is the one that gets the raspberries at the lower level. Mac Bale says good evening all. Mike Mason says hello. Yeah, my neighbor grows squash and cucumbers and onions and lettuce and all that kind of stuff. And he leaves stuff on my doorstep when he has extras. But none of that, oh, tomatoes too. None of that has ripened yet. Still got a ways to go on that. But I got the red raspberries and black raspberries. I got raspberries everywhere. My blueberries haven't bloomed, but they're just little trees. What else? I did not grow any pumpkins this year. I'm trying to grow rows of Sharon so I can plant those at the borders of my property. But I'm growing them at random right now. They're just popping up everywhere. I'm going to replant those. Okay, so let's get going here. 30 people. Let's do the hornstone first. Well, let's see. I can do boppers on these things. These are not as delicate as obsidian. So yeah, I hesitate to use boppers on this stuff if it's obsidian. You gotta get rid of all that crud on the outside. That's cortex. That's not good stuff. That's nasty. It's all chalky stuff. So it's no good. No bueno. But I do have to be careful with it. Because it is too thin in the middle. All slabs are too thin in the middle. You know what happens when it's too thin in the middle. And no, I can't save any of this on the finished pieces because it can't be napped very well. Yeah, it's all chalky. How come I'm napping it now? Well, it doesn't break with a conchoidal. No. Am I done with the cortex? No, not even close. It's all got to be like this. Exposed stone. One more pass around should expose all the stone. Why am I choosing this side? Because of the angle, it's already that way. And there's more cortex on this side than that side, so if I strike this way, it removes less of the cortex from this side and more from that side, just like it's supposed to. And my main concern is the sides. Yeah, like that. So what else we got here? Your laughter is here. Jonah Owl Day is here. Mr. Jim, I love raspberries, but I can't keep them alive way down here. Yeah, the raspberries are sensitive. I'm not supposed to be eating them, but they're free. How can I pass up free raspberries? I can't do it. And I don't want to give them to my neighbor. He won't eat them. The other neighbor has lots of raspberries. See, I've got neighbors on both sides. This neighbor over here gives me the vegetables. He won't eat the raspberries because neighbor over here has lots of raspberry bushes on the other side of their house. And he says he can go there and pick them anytime he wants, but he never does. So, guess who gets to eat all the raspberries on my property? Yeah, me and the little groundhog. Sometimes the birds come around and eat the raspberries, but I don't see that very often. The birds seem to like the birds. Well, they were liking the cat food, but those were the starlings. They went somewhere else. The birds seem to wait until fall to hang around and eat the seeds off of various plants. So they don't eat many of the raspberries. Anyways. Okay, so I got rid of the cortex off the hornstone. It looks like it's going to nap nicely. Well, I left some on the tip. Yeah, I can leave it on the bottom and top for now. Raspberry mead. Oh yeah. Anything sugary. Of course, you add sugar if there's not enough. I used to like mead a lot more than I do now. As I get older, I'm liking alcohol less and less. Makes me feel nasty. I don't like it. Although I'll have some if my friend has some mead. I know a guy that makes mead. Oh yeah. He uses peaches and apples. He makes apple mead and peach mead because that's what he grows on his property down in Texas. There. Yeah, I can make jams and syrups and stuff, and I've got I got 2 big sugar maples in my backyard, and I could tap them for maple syrup, I suppose. Make my own maple syrup. I think I can get a little bit because each tree should yield about, I don't know, a couple gallons of sap. So if I boil down 4 gallons, I might get a little cup of, or half a cup of syrup. I can't remember the proportions. That'd be kind of neat, I suppose. I can get sugaring supplies from Facebook Marketplace for like 20 bucks from someone who, small time sugaring operation. They just say, come get it. 20 bucks just so I can answer the door and make it worth my while that you came over. 20 bucks. But that does not include all those pans and stuff that come along with it. It's just the burner. Yeah. I can either buy a gas burner for the sugaring, or you feed it firewood. And then sometimes they give them away if they're really old. Sometimes just minimal cost, so I can do that. But I don't need something else in the yard. No, that's all I need is something else in the yard. So I just buy the syrup if I want some. Leave my tree alone. My trees. Okay, so enough tapping on the edges on this. So I got to start doing some real napping. 1 quart of honey makes a gallon of mead. I see. 40 gallons of sap for 1 gallon of syrup on the average. So 40 times. So to get a cup of maple syrup, I need 40 cups of sap. Okay, it's 40 to 1, right? Hey, Jesse is here. He just got home. Yeah, sometimes you can put a tube from the tree to a 5-gallon bucket. I've seen that before. But it doesn't yield very much, and you've got to empty the buckets every day, so it doesn't yield that much daily per tree. And if you let it sit for too long, the sap can get rancid or something. I don't know. They don't recommend that you leave the sap there for too long. You don't want it to sit there filling up the bucket over a period of a week or so. You need to collect the sap every day. That's what I heard. Or that's what I've seen. I think that's the way it works. Anyways. I can do that. I can do that with my maple trees. I've got a bunch of little sugar maples growing around the periphery of my property too. Bunches. This year was the year for little baby maple trees. I had them all over the place. We had to mow them down. Most of them got mowed down. Yeah, but there's a few growing that I'm letting grow. Brand new ones. This is from Stone Hook. A piece of looks like heat treated Texas chert. Yeah, I heard the expression chicken poop chert being thrown around at the last nap in. I don't know if that's what this is. It's got little splotches of inclusions and stuff. I'm not doing a very good job of this. Ooh, it looks nice. It looks sweet. Oh yes. What are we gonna do with these? I'm gonna make stuff. See any silly questions yet?
What is it? It looks like, you're messing around with like clay. Is that clay?
No, stones. Who asked me that? Someone asked me that a long time ago.
Hey, can you nap clay? Can I make like a shape of an arrowhead out of clay and then nap it after I fire it up?
Well, it's possible, yeah. Just if you're making porcelain, yes. But that's like extremely high temperatures, I think. Yeah, it's got a pretty good cortex on it too. Come on. This one's significantly tougher. It's thicker too, that's probably what it is. It takes a little bit more effort to get those flakes off because it's thicker. So, let's see. Yeah, the chert is thicker. See, Terry knows how to cut these percussion slabs. This is a percussion slab. This is kind of a so-so percussion slab, but it'll work. How about this one? This is also, these are all good percussion slabs because they stick. All right, where is it? How thick are they? That's the question. Inquiring minds want to know. This one is, oh, I don't know. This is larger than 1/2 inch. Dang, that's like 9/16. That's one of the thickest. It's one of the thickest percussion slabs I got. 9/16. Usually 1/2 inch is the upper limit. Yeah, this one's 1/2 inch. The one from Terry's a 1/2 inch, which is good. It's perfect. This one might be 3/8. No, this one is just shy of a 1/2 inch. That's like 7/16. All right, 7/16, 8/16, and 9/16. Right? Doesn't seem that way. What's that middle one again? Maybe this is 9/16. Yeah, there it is. There, now it's in order. That's a half. This one's a 1/2 inch. Yeah. 7/16, 8/16, and 9/16. 7, 8, 9. Perfect. That's what you should be napping with percussion. Anything thinner than this, you're asking for trouble with percussion. Okay? Unless you're one of those odd people that has no problems with the hardest part of flint napping. Some guys don't have any problems with what is usually the hardest part of flint napping. They have trouble when it's thick, and it's a breeze when it's thin for them. Yeah, upside down. Okay. I am not funny says it's refreshing to finally find a normal stream. There's a lot of weirdos out there. Yeah. Oh, I know. I was amazed about how many people are streaming with clown masks and clown makeup and all kinds of weird stuff going on out there. I was looking to see what people live stream. It's like a circus or a freak show, I should say. See, I don't know if I can say freak show on YouTube, but that's what it is usually. So I agree. This is going to be fairly normal. Yeah, we're making stuff. We're making arrowheads. Oh yeah. Do I have anything to display? I just have one that I always display. Just so you know. And as soon as someone asks a silly question, I'm going to put up my sign. But so far, no one's asked a silly question. Let's see. I'm looking at the chat. You got a lot of people. Sorry. Hopefully, I won't take too long looking at the chat. What is this? I can draw on the chat. You see that? I pushed the wrong button. I started drawing on the chat. Jeff Jin says, is napping a thick slab somewhat like attacking a tabular chart? Yes, it's almost exactly. Yes, it is. Sometimes you can find tabular chart like this. So it's almost exactly like tabular chart. Yes. Is it pink? I don't think so. Wait a minute, is that some new obsidian over there? Where? Ah, I know. I see what you did there. Are you asking a silly question? You asking a silly question? Okay. We'll put up the sign. As soon as the silly questions start coming in, I put the sign up. Oh, there, like, look, there's somebody with weird masks on another live stream. Look, and see that mask? Look, 1.4K viewers, 1.3K likes. And what do I got? Let me see. 57 and 23. Maybe I should show this guy or this girl and get a bunch of views. I'll just sit here like this and I'll restream her stream. How's that? See that? I'll just do that and I'll get lots and tons of likes. No. That'd be too easy. Wait a second. Someone gave me a super chat. Jesse, $20 super chat. Harbor Freight gas money for Harbor Freight that has files in the next town over. Hey, you remembered. Yeah. I'm going to order online next time. Yeah, I can find a Harbor Freight that'll ship it to me, so I'm going to order them online. But thank you very much. That comes in handy. 20 bucks. All right, so let's see what we got here. Okay, let me go back and see. Any questions? Jesse's here. Mike Mason's here. Mr. Jim, Stoneface, Mac Bales. All right, I read those. Okay, so let's go down. Start of winter. How can you get your email? Stoneface, how can I get your email? I want to send you the grinder setup I'm looking at. Stoneface says, pretty sure it's in my channel. Let me see. Stop trying to hit it and hit it. Yeah. Thicker than a Snicker. That's kind of cool. I wish these were thicker than a Snicker. These pieces are like Reese's Pieces. Reminds me of the peanut butter cups. Yeah. Let's see now. I'm interacting with the chat like I'm supposed to, so hold on, guys. Cassie Barbie, do you remember me? I don't. Golly, that's a bad question to ask someone who is 63 years old. Because, no, I don't remember Cassie Barbie. No, I do know a Cassie, but I don't remember. Sorry. Let's see. Ross Wellman, hey. It went up 20 people when you did that. Yeah, wasn't that funny? It went up 20 people as soon as I showed that mask-wearing lady on another live stream. Isn't that amazing? Temu has them online. I see. Cassie, if you keep asking me if I remember you, I will definitely remember you after this. What are you sculpting today? I'm doing hornstone, heat-treated Texas chert, and dacite, or obsidian, grainy obsidian. I've seen you in a while. I haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing good. Oh, yes, I'm doing good. Red Lemur says, I have a question. Would you mind repeating the references on where to buy chert and obsidian? And yes, I will write it down. Danny Collins, Lithics, and Leather. Okay, let me go to his channel. So that way you can take a screenshot. You don't have to write it down, because I know writing it down gets lost. Okay? Let's see. And I recommend Danny Collins first because he's constantly supporting this channel. Okay? So I recommend him first. And then go on Facebook. I recommend Kurt's Church first of all because he's my buddy. Okay? Kurt's Church. Danny Collins, Lithics, and Leather. Kurt's Church is on Facebook. But I'm going to give you Danny Collins' channel name, Lithics and Leather, and show you what it looks like. There's his channel, okay? He has a community and everything. Danny Collins, Lithics and Leather. Okay? He has stones, rocks, and stuff. Kurt's Church on Facebook. Did you get the screenshot? No, it was too fast? Let's see, okay? It's easy. Danny Collins, Lithics and Leather, at Danny Collins, Lithics and Leather. Okay? Let's go to Facebook so I can show you where Kurt's Church is. This question comes up quite a bit, so I want to have it in the live stream at least. Let's see. So I need to search for Kurt's Church. Yeah, Kurt's Church. Curtis Smith. Go to Curtis Smith. Come on. Go to his channel. There it is. Curtis Smith on Facebook. What is it? 11 minutes or 11 million? I think he was on 11 minutes ago. Look at it. So beautiful. Oh, look, he's got that too. Oh no. I'm doomed. I gotta buy it. Oh, that's some, what is it? Pressure elevates. Uh-oh. Root beer. Oh no. Missouri, Reed Springs, and Pearson Church. Dang it. I can't stand it. Uh-oh, these got all sold. You missed them. So you got it or you didn't? You didn't get it. You didn't screenshot it. It was too fast. There it is. There's a link in here too, right? Let's see. Where's the link? There's supposed to be an about. Where is it? There's like linkages. No? Oh, I poked. How do you get to the links? Like his Facebook links. Like I can share. Where does it say share? Right? Is it this? Oh, here's a link. You can take a screenshot of that link. And then tap on the screenshot as a picture and it'll copy the text. Okay? There. You got it? Sweet. If it's too fast, you just got to rewind the live stream and then take the screenshot, okay? It's not a big deal. Unless you make it a big deal. Yeah. Okay, so we're back. Cassie Barbie, I don't feel like it right now, but plus I'm never on Facebook, but my mom is, and this is my mom's account. My real name is Channing. Oh, okay, I gotcha. No wonder. So Channing, let me see. That now I got to try to remember a whole different person. Okay. Red Lemur says, hey, thank you. I got it. Cool. Don't drool on the phone, Patrick. They are expensive. Don't drool on the phone. Come on. I can drool on the phone. It's waterproof. I got a special case. Yeah. They told me.
They didn't tell you. You're lying. It's not as waterproof because look, it's exposed. It's all exposed.
Okay, yeah, I know. I wished it was waterproof. I'm new to this chat, says Tapman. Is the sign just silly for silly questions or is there other meaning? Yeah, it's for silly questions. It's, you know the old saying, right? Play stupid games, get stupid prizes. Well, if you ask silly questions, you get silly answers. There you go. So yes, it's a silly thing. Do you have a good voice for 63? I don't know, do I? I've got a voice for TV and a face for radio. Flintknappingtraditions.com is the website for Danny Collins, yeah. Okay, what else do we have? I'm making an arrowhead today. or what we call projectile points. Let's see. Would you mind repeating? Okay, I already did that. Let's get on with the show. I can only answer so many questions before my viewership starts going down the tubes. And you don't want that. I don't want that. YouTube doesn't like me if I start scaring everybody away. Yeah. My live stream attendance is all over the place. Yeah, sometimes I get a lot of views, sometimes I don't. It's not really consistent. Like if I do long format videos, the viewership is pretty consistent. But on the live streams, it's all over the place. I guess it's depending on what people are bored of watching. When they get bored of watching other stuff, they come over to my channel and then they fall asleep. Yeah. Who was telling me that my voice is good for sleeping? Yeah. Puts people to sleep like a tranquilizer. I think that's a good thing, especially for people with sleep problems. I know how that goes. I got sleep problems. The more activity I do during the day, the harder it is for me to fall asleep at night. Whereas other people, if they wear themselves out with working out and activities and all that, they go to sleep easy. I'm the opposite. If I have a very heavy work day, I can't sleep that night. And if there's another heavy work day after that, I'm dragging my butt all day, and then again I can't sleep that night. I've got to have a day of doing nothing in order to sleep good that night. When can I do that? Not very often. Now, I don't know if that's some kind of disorder, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's some kind of disorder, but I got it, whatever that is. So one of my kids, my daughter that looks just like me, she goes, "Dad, you're going to sleep good tonight after you cleaned out that carport." Back when I used to clean out stuff that my wife would mess up. I said, I wish that after a hard day's work I could go to sleep. But I'll be up all night probably. But why? I can go to sleep easy if I do a lot of work, Dad. Yeah, well, I wish. So that's the way it goes. Some people are different. So I use YouTube to fall asleep also. I pick something, usually science, subject in science that I can pay attention to. And like a lecture, a science lecture, or a discussion, physics discussions and stuff like that. Or maybe even war stories or something like that. There's a lot of those videos. If it catches my attention for the first 10 minutes, I usually start dozing off. That helps. But it's got to be the right kind of voice, too. It can't be that generic British voice that so many videos have these days. AI is pretty good, but not for that stuff. I like a regular human voice that's not mispronouncing words. Like, what was that? What did he say? He's not pronouncing that word right. He's got the accent. I mean, he's got the emphasis on different parts of the word that you're supposed to. And it keeps me awake. I used to listen to LibriVox recordings until I had enough of their weirdness. Sometimes they play little bits of music or weirdness in there. Or they change authors. They change readers in the middle of the LibriVox recording. And it throws me off, wakes me up. Well, who's that? That's not the voice I fell asleep to. What's going on? Snuck in somebody? Let's see. Jesse says, Pat, would you say on slabs to skin it is better to have higher platforms or just above center line? Let me look on the other phone so I can read it without the chat disappearing on me, or the position where your comment keeps changing on me if I look at the other chat. Pat, would you say on slabs to skin is it better to have higher platforms or just above center line? I know they don't have convexity yet. It's best to have a low center line on slabs. Yeah, see how low this is? This is very low. It's low. It's best to have them very low when you're doing this skinning. But I don't take it all down in the beginning. I leave it to where it gets so it'll be more narrow when I get to that part. What I'm doing now is I'm creating more convexity. I start with these longer flakes, and then I'll do shorter flakes and move the edge that way. And just start with some longer flakes and then do the shorter flake thing. I'm doing the opposite of what I normally do. Normally what I do is little flakes first and then the big long flakes on like a spall, if I'm working a spall. But these slabs, I take off some bigger flakes and then I take the little flakes off to establish convexity. Okay? And then I wait till it's more narrow to take this off. But yeah, to skin it, it's better to have a very low platform, to answer your question. But I don't call that platforms anymore. Everybody else calls them platforms, but that's just the edge. So it's better to have a low edge. Okay? All right. Yeah. One of these days I'm going to start telling people you're not listening. If you're still calling this platforms on my live streams, you're not listening. Because it's just the edge. The platforms are all on the flakes down there. This is just the edge. Okay? All right. But I'm not going to get after you just yet, because I know it takes time for people to listen. I got to say it 700 times before it actually catches on. I learned. It's just the edge. The edge, the edge. Because you can hit anywhere on the edge. There's no such thing as a platform on the edge. You can hit anywhere. Okay? Doesn't matter what it looks like, you can still hit it. It doesn't matter what it looks like, you can still hit the edge. Any edge can be hit. This depends on what you want. If you want a little bitty flake, doesn't matter what the edge looks like, or how you prepare it, or how much you grind it. You can just go do a downward force, downward force, and it will flake it no matter what it looks like. Okay? If you want long flakes and persnickety stuff, you need a persnickety edge. Okay? What's a persnickety edge? Something prepared for that amount of force. This all has to be very vague because there's no recipes. Flintknapping has no recipes. And I'm going to be getting after you if you insist on saying that there's formulaic types of advice for flintknapping. There's no recipes. I mean, I told you that I use lower edges when I'm running these flakes on a slab, but some people don't do that. Some people establish a center line right away and nap off the center only. Nap off a centered edge. Okay? And that's all they do. They don't do anything else. They just nap off a centered edge continuously. As an example. And it works for them. Okay? Might not work for me, might not work for you, and might not work for anybody but them. I've seen it before. So, I'm just making these edges more convex. That's all I'm doing. Short flakes now. This is extremely easy. Some people have a hard time with this. I don't know. By comparison, this is an extremely easy part of flint knapping for me. It gets hard when it starts to get thin. Okay? If you're having trouble with this, then you're an unusual napper, and probably a lot of other things are unusual for you, so you better not be listening to other people talk about advice, because it probably does not apply to you. There are no recipes in flint knapping. Let's see what's going on. Let's see, did anyone, what's Cassie doing? Let me see. Oh, chatting up a storm. Can you play background music? I can play background music, but I'm not going to. I don't have a fancy uploader or streaming software. I can play background music that I've got imported in, but I've only got my theme music at the beginning imported in. Yeah. If I play background music, sometimes I get copyright strikes, even if it's free background music. They usually go away, but I don't want to be dealing with that, because I don't want to be monitoring to see who's doing the copyright strike complaints, checking on that stuff. Those are a bunch of goobers. So no, I'm not going to play background music until I can find a reliable, copyright-free background music. I probably have to make my own. Get myself some AI music software generator, whatever it's called. Make my own. That way they can take their copyright claims and stick them where the sun don't shine. Someone did a copyright claim on me because of the church bells in the background. Yeah. I said, those are my notes. Those are my tunes, boy. What? Yeah, those are my tunes. What are you doing playing my tunes? Those are church bells. They're not your tunes. What the hell are you talking about? That's before I was aware of those scams. I thought he was serious. No, it was probably a bot just going around hassling people through email. For, any excuse to hassle them. And of course, they say you owe them money. You don't owe them compensation. Yeah. Let's see. Do we need to put someone in timeout? Let me see. Chronic Doomscroller says hello. I think I've seen you before already. Let's see. Come on. What's going on? Let me see. Roger says, sorry to disturb. Just wanted to ask you, can tell you have a very high skill level. Who taught you this thing you do? I am self-taught, but I did watch a lot of YouTube videos, so I got the general idea. But I've been doing this for over 15 years, and I'm self-taught. That means I got my own techniques, got my own style. I don't roll like everybody else. Let's see. Yay. I timed out somebody. He was probably 10 years old. Okay, so let's see. Who taught you your skill? Yeah, I'm self-taught. I did take some advice from some guys, especially in the pressure flaking department. Yeah. But as far as percussion, I have my own style of percussion. But my pressure flaking is pretty much taught by other guys. Yeah. To be fair, the pressure flaking I've learned from other people. Although I don't do much. I don't do too much as far as fancy pressure flaking, so that's what I need to work on, though. I need to work on my pressure flaking to see if I can come up with something better than what I'm doing. Ace Maduro says, recipe for knapping: pick up rock, chip rock, break rock in half for swear. Yeah, throw rock down and go watch Jack Crafty. That's funny. Marty says, the preacher next door was mad you had his bells. Yeah, I guess so. But it's a Roman Catholic church, so let's see. Attention all units, we have a 454 taking place on Jack Crafty. What's a 454? Alan was here, yeah. Alan might have, I don't know. Karnak Doom Scroller, I just got on the stream, but I was here earlier. I'm easily distracted. I know the feeling. Chris Lithic says, looks awesome as is. This looks awesome as is. It's getting there. It'll be awesome. So this is the first stage. That's the easy part. Okay? On these slab things. Let's finish the first stage on this one too. And then we're going to finish the first stage on these, all three of these. All right? So they're all going to look like this, with some still left in the middle. I'm going to stop at this stage on all of these. Okay? So we're going to try to speed it up and see if I can get this one done a little bit faster than the first one. Okay? Same procedure. Looks like I'm using the same angles, same forces, and same everything. But I'm not. It changes slightly depending on the stone properties and depending on how it's snapping and responding. Okay? It might look like the same angle, same everything, but there's slight differences because of difference in materials. There's always going to be slight differences in the angles and the technique. Always. Even if it's the same kind of stone. If I had slabs of all the same kind of stone, the technique could vary even with that, because sometimes there's inconsistent spots. If this is going to be very inconsistent, I'm going to be doing more cautious flaking. The hornstone was very consistent. There are no trouble spots at all. This one might have trouble spots, and I had to the trouble spots in a different way depending on how they're responding. And no, there's no formula for how to attack trouble spots. You just got to go with the flow. Figure it out on an individual case-by-case basis. And people hate that. They want a formula. They want to know exact. What is the angle exactly? I need exactness. Sorry. No exactness. No exactly. I can't tell you exactly. No. Well, I can tell you though that there's harder hits required on tougher stones. There are some rules of thumb. I'll give you that. To be fair, I gotta mention that there are some rules of thumb. Like thin the ends down first. That sort of thing. But they're mostly strategies. The rules of thumb are mostly the strategies. Okay? Not the particulars of the forces and the directions and angles and all that kind of stuff. It's just, the strategy is like on this, is to nap around the edges first, get rid of the square edge. But that's a strategy. I'm not telling you how to do it. It just needs to be done if you're going to do it in this particular way that I do it. Some guys will skin the whole surface first. That makes it too thin in the middle. That makes everything too thin if you skin it all first. It's got to have thickness. The reason why I don't skin this or this is because I like it thick in the middle. And see, I tapered the ends down. Sometimes it doesn't help. I have broken pieces in half that are way thick in the middle, and it's because it's snap and half-ish material, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can try to prevent it, but there is no, how do I not do it? There is no such thing as how do you not do something in Flintknapping. Like in cooking, if it tells you to go to 350 degrees and cook it for 30 minutes, don't cook it at 400 degrees for 30 minutes. Okay? That's how not to do it. But in Flintknapping, I can't guarantee you that don't hit it really hard will work, as an example. If you don't hit it really hard, it won't break. I could tell you that, but you could just hit it softly and it still breaks. And then you'll go, hey, you told me not to hit it hard and I didn't, and it broke. What's up? I expect it to be like pizza, you know. If you tell me not to heat it at 500, I won't heat it at 500 and it'll cook. Yeah, see, Flintknapping is not like cooking pizza. Okay? All right. It should be obvious, but apparently it's not. Cassie B is 10 years old. Let's see. Yeah, I need a little cartoon version. No, I'm going to make a puppet. Yeah. I've already thought of that. If I do anything, I'll make little puppets. Maybe in the shapes of little rocks or something. I don't know. I've been thinking about that. Yeah. I've been thinking, I already make the rocks talk, so we'll see what happens there. Yep. Instead of sock puppets, you can make rock puppets. Maybe some sock puppets with the rock puppets. Yeah. See, I can hit this hard and it still doesn't do it right because there's some weirdness going on. See that? It's getting all crunchy. The hornstone didn't do that. How do I know it's a stone and not me? That's a very good question, and the answer is because I've been doing this a lot. That's the only reason I know. If I was new at this, there would be no way to tell if it was me or the stone. But since I've been doing this a long time, I can tell when the stone is starting to be a little brat. Yeah. And that's a highly valuable skill to have, is to analyze what's happening with the stone. So I try to eliminate all other variables. That way they're just dependent on the variables of the stone, and I can say, aha, everything else is the same. I've been working with the same stuff, same tools, same materials, same everything. But yet it's acting up. Aha, it's the stone. Okay? That helps. If the more variables you remove from the process, the better. Okay? So you know it's the stone and not your method. You make your method the same, basically the same. And if the stone starts misbehaving or acting like a little brat, you know it's the stone. Okay? even with my experience, I still do it that way. I keep all the variables the same as far as my technique. Sometimes I do change up the material. Like I've used steel, I've used aluminum, I've used different materials. I'm going back to using antler, bone, and stone and stuff. There is a learning curve when I change materials, but other than that, I try to keep the variables the same. Like when I use my natural tools, it's the same technique every time, and the same tools, and try to get the same setup going. So if there's a problem, it's not the tools and stuff, it's the stone. And it's important to know that, because many times the difference between a beautiful point and a okay point is nothing more than the quality of the stone you're using. That's it. It can make or break the type of results you have. Okay? Some guys think that, yeah, if they can knap some hard material, they can make anything out of anything. No. If you can knap difficult materials, that means you're experienced at knapping difficult materials. There's still a learning curve for other materials. Okay? But you don't have to take my word for it. They can make the difference between making a nice point and making a terrible looking point, because you don't understand the material. Okay? Like there was a guy, somebody recently said that they had some tough material. I think we had a discussion on some English flint. The only thing he has available is tough English flint. He's wondering why he's not getting long flakes, and it's because everybody has trouble getting long flakes on tough stones like that he was using. I'm not saying all English flint is tough. I'm just saying his variety was tough. Okay? So yeah, it is valuable to know the stone. And it's not valuable to think that just because you can knap tough stuff means you can knap anything. No, it just means you can knap tough stuff. That's it. People that, for example, I know a lot of people who have learned on tough stuff, and they say they hate obsidian. They hate it. I'm not going to nap that stuff because it's nasty. I learned on stuff that was really tough because I'm tough. I like durability in myself and in stones. So I hate obsidian. And they can't do nothing with obsidian. Obsidian was preferred whenever it was possible to use it. Native Americans preferred obsidian over everything else whenever it was available. And the reason is because of its sharpness. They weren't necessarily interested in the art like we are today. They're interested in the sharpness. That's why they use stone for projectile points, because of the sharpness. Otherwise, just use bone arrowheads. The stone is sharper. It cuts flesh better than a bone arrowhead. So they use stone for its sharpness. Okay? In case you don't know.
Yeah, with stone, it can be so beautiful.
Like I said, it wasn't done for the art. It was done for the sharpness. How do I know? Just look at the majority of the artifacts. The ones that are beautiful are rare. You might think they're all beautiful because, you know, they got stories to tell. They had gone places. They're historical. They're old and they got stories behind them. They're beautiful because of that. Okay, but it still doesn't have anything to do with the sharpness. Okay, all right. Some people don't like me talking about that kind of stuff. It's okay. So what am I doing? I'm just creating convexity. I'm napping this so I can have some good convex surfaces, thin down the ends a little bit. Doing it at random. There's no rhyme or reason. I just look for opportunities. I'm opportunistic. It seems to work for me. It doesn't get me bored. I don't get bored if I'm just opportunistic like this. If I have to do it methodically, I get bored within 5 minutes. But this is always a brand new challenge. Every strike, it's a brand new challenge. They're all different. All these flakes have been different. Different forces, different surfaces, different considerations, slightly different angles, slightly different grindings. That's what keeps it not boring for me. The opportunism. The opportunism. Okay? All right. Sometimes people need to know that. Ah, so that's why he naps all crazy and spastical. Yeah. That's why. Everything is brand new. Every flake is different. Every angle, it has slight tweaks. Okay? Even though I say I use the same technique, there is slight tweaks with every flake. Okay. The longer the flake, the more force I used. So just look at the size of the flakes that I get. Okay? These longer flakes, more force. The shorter flakes, less force in most cases. Some cases I can hit real hard and get a little bitty flake. Some cases I can hit softly and get a big flake, but those are not the usual. They do happen, but they're not the usual. So when you see me get a little flake, that's a little bit of force. A big flake, lots of force. Okay? That's the general rule of thumb. Big flake, big force. Little flake, little force. And you can see that all the flakes that I've done are different. Different sizes. Wherever I think they are needed. That was a big old hit. It didn't go very far, but that was a big old hit. I'm trying to skin off this nasty bird poop right there. I think this is a heat treat, but it's still kind of tough. Right in the middle there. Of course. Right where it shouldn't be. But I need to skin off that nasty stuff before I go any further. I noticed that it was starting to get nasty right there in that middle part. Probably talking about it made me miss that one. I might have been able to blow a flake across there, but just because I said something, I might have messed myself up. And if it's too thick on the ends, I got to take the ends down before I hit that again, because potentially it's going to get thin. I don't want it to be thinner there than up here, so I got to now go back to the top, thin this down. It helps to prevent snapping half, but it doesn't guarantee it. Okay. Big flakes, big forces. Little flakes, little forces. The angles are about the same, but they do change also. But yeah, the angles can be almost exactly the same. just the variation in force is what makes a difference. And sometimes I have to change the angle a little bit to get what I want, especially with the little flakes. Little flakes have a lot of variation in angles. The big flakes do not have much variation in angles. Okay, I don't know if you can picture why that is, but trust me, the bigger the flake, the less variation in the angle. The little flakes I can do at any position, but the big ones are very confined. Did it work? Oh, it kind of did. Almost. It kind of smoothed it. I need another big flake though. Okay. Besides, I also need a good surface on the stone, on the tool tip. Fresh metal is always best. Fresh metal is always best because it reduces the variables. No variability. Sometimes you have impregnated dust and chips in the metal, which will cause variability. You want to reduce the variables. Is that going to work? I think that did. Lots of force. That was one of the biggest, most forceful hits yet. Okay? I don't remember exactly, but that was one of the hardest hits of the whole process. So that was my biggest concern. We're done with that stage. Okay, we still got thickness. We just barely skinned off the top layer, and we still have some of them layer left. So it's nice and thick where I think it'll break. Okay, so these two are at the same stage. Okay. Now we're going to go for dacite. Bill Taylor gave me this. Yeah. I have generous subscribers. You know that? I am very lucky. Today, I am recognizing how lucky I am on everything. Yeah. Hoping I don't jinx myself. But I'm very lucky. Oh, yes. Come on. No? Not going to do it? Do it. Do it. Yes, do it. Nice. Yeah, nice. It's a little machete for G.I. Joe. See that? That's a G.I. Joe machete. Look at that. Just put a little handle on that sucker. Yeah. That's what I'd fight with. I'd find a way to go back to Glass Buttes, Oregon and nap one of these off a big boulder and go, I'm done. It'd be like, 12 inches long or something. Yeah, I'm done. That's it. I'm going home now. I got my machete. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Let me check the chat before I move on to this one here any further. AM Outdoors is here. The Feathered Frontiersman is in the house also. Chris Lithic. Yep, it's dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. Oh, yes. Have a Plum Records. Wow. I don't think I've seen you before in the chat. Abrading is universal. Oh, yeah. Tapman says, is the abrading different with indirect versus direct? Yes. Indirect usually requires more abrading. As a general rule, I've seen many examples where indirect percussion requires more abrading and more careful abrading than with direct percussion. Good question. What does it mean to flute it for newcomer in the chat? Fluting just means a long flake from the base. And this is the base. That's the tip. Fluting is just a long flake. You know, there's no cutoff, there's no scientific boundaries for what constitutes a flute. You just know it when you see it. Like this is a thinning flake from the base, but it's not a flute unless it's longer. What is the length? I think a flute is usually twice as long as it is wide on average. It can be longer. It can be 3-to-1 or 2-to-1, but anything less than 2-to-1 doesn't look like a flute. Okay? Normally. So I guess the proportions on this channel, I'm going to say a flute is 2-to-1, you know, twice as long as it is wide. It's a thinning flake from the base. It's a thinning flake. It's done for thinning. It's not done for artistry. Back in the day, the purpose of it, if you really want to know what the purpose of it was for thinning, not artistry. Today, however, those thinning flakes are often for artistry and a display of skill. Okay? Back in the day, it was for thinning so you could stick it on a stick. All right? All right. Good question. I'm glad someone asked me that in an intelligent way. Hey, Chris Lithic, flute it. $1.99. I'm not going to flute it for $1.99. You kidding me? That thing costs more than $1.99. Yeah, you know how much these slabs cost? It was a gift. This slab is not cheap. Yeah. I mean, I appreciate the $1.99. Yeah. That was awesome. But, you know, if we're going to have a little bit of banter here about fluting, I'm going to say no, because it's not worth it. That gift is valuable. For me to risk breaking it? No, no, no. Dawkinstein would not like that. Bill, I don't know, is Bill still in the house? He won't like it. Watch Bill say,
Hey, yeah, I want you to flute it too.
I would say, oh dang. The tomahawk head was 6. You liked it? Somebody's making tomahawk heads? I just won the thing. I just won one thing, the tomahawk head. Oh, I see. Have a Plum Records. How did you get into this craft originally? Originally, I was making arrowheads out of slate when I was about between 8 and 10 years old. Because I saw arrowheads made of stone in a book. And I grew up in New Hampshire, and the only thing we had available for me to make arrowheads out of that was stone was slate. And I read in a book that some arrowheads were made of slate. I said, oh, I'm going to go to town on this. So I used to grind them down, and I made little triangles out of slate. That's how I originally got into it. But I didn't start flintknapping seriously until my kids were almost grown up, and I had a house and a good shop in the backyard, and you know, almost 40-50 years of doing other things. I got back into it. I got back into it when I was in my 40s. So maybe 30 years between when I first started and when I seriously got into it. Anyways, let's see. Didn't see any notifications on my bids. I don't know. Are we talking about the auction? If you don't see notifications on your bids, what does that mean? You didn't see me put a like on your bids or something? or a heart on your biz? You didn't get those notifications? Let me know if you don't get the notification for a heart or a like. That'd be bad. AM Outdoors, I love the fishing in New Hampshire. New Hampshire. Yeah, the fishing is good up here in the Northeast. I just hardly ever go anymore. Yeah, I gotta get my my fishing rig made so I can fish with bow and arrows. Yeah, but there's not much carp out here. I'd like to fish for invasive species. That way I can fish any time of night, any time of day, no bag limit, and no restriction on what I use. So yeah, I want to hunt invasive species. I could do it in Texas, and I could do it in Indiana when I was in Indiana for a while. But here, I have to drive quite a ways to find a lake that has invasive species that I can shoot anytime I want. With anything I want. Harpoons, arrows, I can even use nets. Anything. My favorite hunting is hunting invasive or troublesome species that have no bag limits, no time of day limit, no close season, any kind of weapon. That's my kind of hunting. Indiana, yeah, I worked in Indiana in and around Indianapolis for a year or so, about a year. And I was, instead of, I was working away from home. I took a job away from home, and instead of renting a place, I lived at a campsite. Yeah, and right next to the campsite was a lake, and I could shoot carp all day long in that lake. They were invasive, and I loved it. Let me see. Yeah, tilapia, spearfishing for tilapia would be excellent. You should come to Tennessee. We have carp that jump into your boat. Yeah, that's my kind of fishing, because I know those are invasive. Yeah, no U.S. fish is that stupid. That would be my kind of fishing. Yeah, Marty says, yeah, no Folsom, not a Clovis, just an easy Cumberland. Yeah. I'm convinced that a lot of these old fluted pieces were made with some sort of pressuring jigs. Yeah. The more I look into it, the more I'm thinking, it's not that hard to make a jig if you're in the Stone Age. How hard can it be? You can make a jig to flute stuff. So they were probably fluted with jigs, pressure jigs of some sort. That, you have to think about it in a way that is practical. What's an easy way to create long pressure flakes or long flutes? It's with a jig of some sort. So they probably had a jig of some sort, even back in the day, back in the Stone Age. If you look at their other advances in the way they made stuff, you can, like boats, canoes and boats, they made sophisticated canoes and boats. Why not sophisticated fluting jigs for making Folsoms and Cumberlands and stuff? And Clovis is not so much, because the Clovis fluting is not always the greatest. It looks like they just did those freehand with percussion. But all the other flutings look like they were made with jigs. Yeah. And, obviously, some of the Folsoms have very short flutes, too. They weren't all that successful. And some Folsoms are small, very small. Very short, I mean. Same width usually, but some of the Folsoms are extremely short, and the flute goes from the base of the tip, so they fluted only a little distance. It's not like they reworked it, because you can tell that they fluted it after they made the general shape. Okay? most Folsoms are no big deal. And sometimes a Folsom would be made on a flake and only fluted on one side, and sometimes not fluted at all. And they call those Midland points, of all places. After Midland, Texas. I used to live there. Oh, yes. Right in the center of the Permian Basin. I worked for the oil fields for a little while. As a draftsman. Process piping. Oh, yes. I don't even want to remember that. Because they got me into all kinds of stuff. They got me into designing shelters for their units. Oil field units. Yeah, I had to make enclosed, you know, I did the designs and everything for the enclosures, the buildings around the equipment. They say, you can do that? So yeah, I've got architectural experience and stuff like that. Well, then here you go. Here's what I need. Can you draw up plans for that building made of metal? It can be transported. It's got to be able to be transported on the highway. Can you do it? Yeah, I can do it, actually. Really? Yeah. Okay, we're not going to pay you any more, but you can do it. Yeah, I kind of got that, yeah. All right, cool. They had me designing also shipping crates, of all things. Can you design a shipping crate? It's got to go to Russia. I'm not even kidding. It's going to Russia? Yeah, one of our best clients is over there in Siberia. Can you believe it? They struck oil in Siberia. But we need to ship them a bunch of pumps. Can you design a crate that'll survive that trip across the world? Yeah, actually. Good. We're not going to pay any extra, but you know, you can do it, right? Yep, I can do it. So that's what I did. I built the first one myself. I went out to the shop, got a hammer, got a screw gun, got the screws, got the lumber, ordered it all, got the plywood, got the fasteners, got the secure little lockdowns for all the equipment that goes inside the crate. Everything. And then put the equipment in the crate. Of course, with help of the shop guys. Some of the equipment weighed hundreds of pounds. We got everything locked down. We started shipping to Russia. Everything's going good. And the boss says, okay, no more shipping to Russia. Why? I don't know, something funny going on. Really? Yeah. You can go back to making buildings for North Dakota. Okay. Just what I did. That's my story. We did other things too, but that was a story, and doing things were not related to what I was originally trained for. But I had knowledge of that stuff because I taught myself carpentry, house building, plumbing, electrical work. I taught myself all that stuff. How big do I think I can make this one? Let's see. This dungeon biscuit is almost 5.5. I think it'll stay up around 5.25 inches. I'm only going to lose 1/4 inch off of this stuff. Yeah, 5.25 on this. Prowlery. Yeah. I'm not going to flute it though. I don't care what you say. I don't care how many $1.99 chats, super chats I get. I'm not going to flute it. No. Why don't I flute these things? I don't know. Maybe because people are so annoying when I start doing something cool. Yeah. I mean, if I turn off the comment section, I might do it. So I don't have to hear none of that gibberish. Yeah. But then all the guys that are cool won't be able to comment. It ruins the chat. So that's why I don't do it. Believe it or not. There are some people that I know I don't want anywhere near my chat. I'm not gonna say who they are. When I start doing something cool, they come in here and they go, "No, that's not it."
You just think you know how to do it. Yeah. It might look like you're doing it, but you just think you know how to do it.
Yeah, okay, fine. Besides, there was this one guy, this is a totally unrelated story. I was at a like an archaeology club meeting, and they were going to have a fundraiser where they were selling some artifacts. And I volunteered. I asked them, I'd like to help out this archaeological society. I can make stuff that looks like Clovis. Of course, I'll make sure that I'll engrave some kind of mark and my name on it, or put my name on it somehow so it's not confused with the real thing. And they got really weird about it. They go, you can make something that looks like a Clovis? I said, yeah, here's some pictures of my work. And one of the guys came up to me and says, "Oh, really? You can do that? I mean, we can take a submission of Clovis, yeah, but it's a little bit dicey because you know how it is, right?" And I'm going, well, kind of, sort of. Yeah, so I mean, we can submit it, but blah 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 blah. I can't remember exactly what he said, but he started giving me the impression that someone might steal it. Yeah. Or do something with it, but and try to pass it off as real. And these were archaeologists. So I'm thinking, if I do stuff that looks like a really expensive real point, especially if I make it out of, or make it with natural materials, there are people there who start drooling at the prospect of getting their hands on something like that for a very low price. Something that can be passed off as real. So after that one experience, and after many experiences online with chat goobers, let's just call them chat goobers, I don't want to do those things. Yeah. There's also an issue of showing people how to do it. Some people drool over the prospect of learning how to do that stuff, because then they can try to make stuff that can be passed off as real. So am I going to contribute to the forgery type of culture out there? I don't know. I mean, you can say that I'm showing you how to make other things, but they don't sell as much as a Clovis, or a Cumberland, or a Folsom, or an Endice, or anything else that's fancy. Yeah. Am I going to feel good about showing you how to do any one of those, since there's a lot of goobers out there? I don't know. Eric Kitty says we already settled on no fluting. Cool. I mean, I can do a little flute on a Pedernales point. I have little bitty flutes, but they're actually thinning flakes. Yeah, cool little thinning flakes in the base of the Pedernales. in many cases. There are other points that have little flutes, like some of the Daltons, that kind of thing. Yeah. So we still have our original thickness. See that? We still got that left and this left. So we still have some of the original thickness, so we're good. So these have all been napped to the same stage. Okay? Same stage. Now it's the hardest part of flint napping, to nap it down thinner. Which one am I going to do? We'll leave it up to the chat. Let me check the chat. Which one? I have a feeling someone's going to say
the longest one. Always the longest. If there's a doubt, if it's in question, the longest. Yeah. Big blades. Yeah, big blades.
I should just put that in there on the list. Big blades. Let's see. Let's see. We're going to say something like big freaking blades. Yeah. I'm going to anticipate what's going to happen. Yeah? Yeah. Pike says, I think you need to do the thicker one. Hey, there's someone after my own heart there. Let's see. I don't believe it. Can it be true? Whole bunch of us tied for third. Let's see, what's going on? Where I'm from, it's a pigeon poop. Let's see. I think you need to do the thicker one, says Pike. Let's see. Do the chicken poop. What kind of turd is it? Texas heat treat. This stuff right there. Or look at the sign. Ask silly question, get silly answers. You know that I don't pay attention to the type of turd it is. Let's see. I don't see any of the black crackly on the floor. Yeah, I cleaned it all up, Ed. You know how I am. I'll clean that stuff up. This is the black crackly. See, it snapped in half there. That's the first snap in half. And then it snapped right there too. Both in the thickest part of the biface I was working on. I'm saving this as proof that it will still snap in the thickest part of the biface. And it did it twice. Look at that. So this is what I call snap-in half-ish. Snap-in half-ish material. But I did have some success. From one half of that big blade, this is the upper half, I managed to get it thinned down. But what is surprising is it didn't break. Okay? If this had broken again, it would not have been surprising. What's surprising is it hasn't broken. I'm going to sharpen this off camera and offer it in the auction. It's about 9 inches. Let me see. This is the stuff that I worked on past couple days. No, it's not 9. It started off at 9. It's 8 and, I don't know, 3/8 almost. I'm going to lose a little bit on the sharpening, so it'll be about 8 1/4 or maybe 8 1/8 when I'm done sharpening it. Depending how this goes on the tip. Sometimes I lose the tip when I sharpen it and I have to reshape the tip. But this is the kind of stuff, this is the kind of obsidian you can look at the sun with. I have a short video where I looked at the sun with this flake. I probably could have found a better flake, but I was looking through the glass shards and I didn't want to spend too much time. Anyway, there's a flat spot here and there's a flat spot there, and if you put the sun right in that area, you can see it perfectly round. and you hold it up over your eye, and then look at the sun. You can see it in there if you hold it just right, and you can tell that there's an eclipse. So I bet you they used obsidian to look to see if the sun is eclipsed or not, because they knew about eclipses in the Stone Age. Okay, that's the only way you can see an eclipse, is if you have a filter, a lens that has some kind of tint. Otherwise, you can't. You'll burn your eye out. Okay, what is it? I'm headed there in the morning. Uh-oh, it's starting to rain. You Mine says, you got any ancient Egyptian rite ethereal cracker rock? What is that? Ancient Egyptian rite ethereal cracker rock? I wish. That sounds awesome. I've had decent chunks of obsidian break into 4 pieces in my hand after a single hit. There you go. That is super snap and halfish. Snyder's Point on the Midwest, on the widest. Snyder's on the widest. Got to vote for Snyder's. The widest one. Release the Kraken. Chicken poop, raw, unheated. It's heated. It's not raw. The chicken poop, I think, is a heat treat. Yeah. We got raindrops coming down on the shop, so it might interfere with the volume. So I mean, I could finish it. Finish the chicken poop one. Do the chart as you were talking about overcoming pockets in different way each time. Yep. Flintknapping is cutting edge technology. Yeah, I see what you did there. Is Terry here? Yeah, Stone Hook, chicken poop. I just got here. Yeah. So that is the chicken poop, huh? Terry says do this one. I wonder why. I wonder. Tell everybody where you got it from and what's it called exactly. And how much you heat treated it and for how long. If he's generous, well, he is generous. If he's extra super generous, he'll tell you, but he doesn't have to. No, none of us have to tell you anything. It's for you to find. It's for us to nap and you to find out. Yeah. This is for us to find out, and it's us. It's up to us to nap and you to find out. Yeah, it's for us to nap and you to find out. Okay? Okay. So chicken poop it is. Yes, yes. I don't think there's red in this because the sign back there messes everything up. It makes everything look red. Yeah, it's just regular translucency. Regular. Yeah. What am I going to make out of it? I have no ideas. Something that's not too cool because I don't want anyone drooling over the possibility of trying to make something that looks real and then passing it off as real. Yeah. I don't want no booger heads in the comment section either. Alright, so I'm going to finish skinning it. This side's already skinned pretty good, but this side needs a good skinning. Yeah. And there's more than one way to skin a projectile point or to skin a preform. But I'm going to do it the way I do it. Yep, I'm going to do it the way I do it. So how long is this going to take me? It takes as long as it takes. Yeah, there's no recipes. It's not bake in the oven for 30 minutes at 300 degrees. Not even if you want to heat treat this stuff. There's no recipes for anything in Flintknapping. There may be rules of thumb, but that's it. That's all you get. Just a few rules of thumb, that's it. And there are strategies. They're not related to the actual how to nap. Okay? Because it's for us to nap and you to find out. Okay? Alright. My recipe is bonk until it looks decent. There you go. There you go. That's a good strategy. You can always change what you consider decent too. You can lower your standards. I can lower my standards anytime I want. And if it looks decent to me, it's good. Some might say, you got low standards. You think that's decent. You don't even do Cumberlands. The only thing I think is beautiful is the Cumberland. Everything else ain't squat. That's what some people think, yes. But, you know, if you're on this channel, you're going to settle for what I think is decent. Oh, yes. I feel like making a Pedernales. Yes, I do. Zachary says, greetings. Yes, yes, yes. A pinch of this and a pinch of that. Who said a pinch of this and a pinch of that? Chris Cox. There's a Chris Lithic and a Chris Cox. How many Chris's we got tonight? I'm going to thin this a little bit, right? I'm trying to finish skinning it. We still got some skinning to do here. You can see the writing there too on the original surface. But I'm going to be thinning randomly to keep it tapered. Okay? I forgot to ask Terry if this was heat treated. Specifically ask him. It feels heat treated, but it might not be. If it's not, I'm impressed with this stuff. Even though it looks nasty, it can be overcome. The obstacles can be overcome. Yes. So it feels heat treated. But you never know. How sharp would a completed blade be? It depends on your skill. A completed blade is never as sharp as a flake. Okay, the rule is a flake, the edge of a natural flake is always sharper than one of these. This can never be as sharp as the edge of a flake. So why would they make these? They make these for durability and for how do I say this? Intimidation. And also as a part of a system on a projectile point. The smaller ones. A large piece like this can be used as a knife. You can put a flake on a stick and it'll cut much better than this. But this looks more intimidating because it looks like an item of technology, like you know what you're doing. Okay, but it's also can be part of a system. Now, how sharp can it be? It can get pretty sharp, but it's always going to be like a sawtooth edge. It's not going to be like a fine edge like on one of these flakes. It'll never be as sharp as this edge. This will never be as sharp as that. So whatever is not as sharp as this, the answer to the question, how sharp does this get? Not as sharp as this. And there's a big range. That's the only answer I can provide that makes sense. Okay. Good question though. So Marty says high quality raw chicken poop. Is that true, Terry? Is it raw? If it's raw, this stuff is actually pretty good. Thank you for the information, boss. You're welcome. They killed woolly mammoths with them, yes. Yeah. They either killed or butchered with these, or both. We don't know for sure if they were actually killed with these or if they were butchered with these. They just found points in the remains with the mammoths. And even if you can find a projectile point stuck in a bone in a mammoth, it still doesn't mean it actually killed the mammoth with it. It could be that they distracted the mammoth or made it go into a rage. We don't know mammoth's personality. They could have just shot it with a projectile and whoever shot it gets chased. Like the mammoth would know, hey dude, you just hit me with that poker. I'm going to come after you and stomp you. So they would hit the mammoth with something that would cause the mammoth to chase somebody into a trap. That could have been how that was killed. We don't know. We're just assuming, or not us, because I don't assume that. People assume that they use the clovises and other projectile points to actually kill the mammoths when we don't know that for sure. Okay? We don't know that for sure. Just for people who don't realize this, I want you to know. Yeah. I want you to question everything. We don't know if Clovis was a butchering tool, an all-purpose projectile point, a point used in warfare, all of the above, or maybe only some of the above. We don't know. Is it possible to shoot an animal and get it pissed off at you so that it runs after you? Oh yes. And guess who's crazy enough to do that? Hey guys, let's get the napper to shoot the mammoth and have the mammoth chase the napper. That'd be so funny. He's fat from napping all day. He needs to exercise. Yeah, let's get Mikey. He won't do it. He hates running. Hey, Mikey, he did it. He shot it with that beautiful Clovis that he made. He's sitting there all day making it, but he still did it. Yeah, so Mikey's light enough to walk over the trap door of the trap, over the pit. But the mammoth, when he steps on the trap, falls in the pit. if Mikey's safe. Yeah. That was pretty cool, Mikey. You finally got a use for that thing you've been working on all week. Yep, that was cool. We never know. We never know how they did it. I mean, we will never know. One of the reasons why I come up with stories like that is because as a kid, my uncle took me to a bullfight in Mexico. Patrick, we're going to go see the bulls. What? We are going to go see the bulls and the matadors. We're going to see some bulls? Yeah, they're going to kill the bulls. Really? Let's go. So we went. I saw the matadors kill 8 bulls in hand-to-hand fighting, so to speak, when I was like 8 years old. I went to go see the bulls. They make a big deal out of these bulls. They bring out the little ones first, and then the big ones are last. And they were huge. Yes. And the best matadors fighting the best bulls. I can imagine the same thing happened with bison, with mammoths. There were decoys. There were spears. There were clowns that distracted the bull. I bet you that technique of hunting goes way back. There were tests of bravery. The whole thing in the bullfight. And finally, they killed the bull with swords. They killed the bulls with swords. After jabbing it with the little, I don't know what they call those things that they jab the back of the bull with these little miniature arrow things. They also speared the bulls to weaken them. The guys on horses, I forget what they call those guys. They would spear the bull to make him bleed more, and then get him ticked off. But then the bull would become slightly weaker, more angry and more active, but weaker. Yeah. And it would try to take out his anger on the matador. So I think that kind of fighting with animals goes way back. Okay? That's where most of my perspective comes from. When attacking large animals. And then I asked my uncle, what do they do with the bulls? They eat them. They're gonna eat the bulls? Oh yes. Patrick, they always eat the bulls. Really? Yeah. That's it. Anyways, I'm gonna focus on this a little bit more. I think I might make a pedernales out of it. What time is it? Oh, you think it's 2 hours already. Yeah, I have relatives in Mexico, but they are Spaniards, you know. European Mexicans, so to speak. I don't know if they still have that type of bullfighting in Mexico. They did when I was little. They might not have continued that. But it was from Spain. That type of bullfighting was from Spain. Mr. Scullis, when I went for my grandfather's funeral, let's see, let me go to the other one. If the chat moves, I can't see your comment. Let's see. Mr. Scullis, when I went for my grandfather's funeral, we saw tons of these on the ground, and the whole land is enclosed with an electric fence, and it is big. I see. In Dune, the main character's grandfather was a toreador and was killed by a bull in the ring. I see. My family kept that bull's head taxidermied on the dining hall. Supposedly with my grandfather's blood still staining the horns. Oh, dang. That last bit is more of a if I remember correctly. Let's see. Chris Cox, interesting information about mammoth. The woolly mammoth range was in Canada and northeast U.S. The Colombian mammoth range was the rest of the U.S. I see. Colombian mammoth is larger than the woolly. I see. Did the mammoths disappear from hunting or catastrophe? I think they disappeared with catastrophe. I think the change in the weather brought new diseases and parasites. Yeah. Changes in weather will bring about changes in parasites and diseases. Just look at the moose population. The changes in the weather here in New England have had a bad effect on the moose population. A lot of them I've seen, I don't know if it's a lot, but I've seen them, the poor creatures, die of tick infestations. Because the ticks are getting bad. It has to do with the weather. And, of course, other species of animals moving into their range that carry the ticks. As an example, more animals bring different diseases. Warmer weather brings more parasites. They could have even died from changes in the vegetation. They depended on a certain type of vegetation, and then that vegetation no longer grew. And it's a cascading effect. The disappearance of megafauna in terms of the prey can cause a decline or extinction of the predators as well in that particular area if they're adapted to that weather, in that climate, those plants, etc., etc. I don't think humans were overhunting. Overhunting implies stupidity. One thing they could not afford to be back in the day was stupid. We're stupid these days because we have it easy. You know, we overhunt a lot of things, but we can just go buy chicken at the grocery store if we run out of deer. It doesn't affect us, so we can be stupid. But back in the day, they can't be stupid like that. How bad is Lyme disease out here? Well, here in this area, Windham County, Vermont, up to 70% of the ticks have Lyme disease. 70%. And it could be more now. It keeps increasing every year. The deer ticks up to 70% have Lyme disease, or they're carrying it. So, 3 out of 4 ticks, deer ticks that get on you, will have Lyme disease. So I don't want any on me. You can look it up in the stats for ticks in New England, and you can look them up by county. The northern counties in Vermont don't have as many ticks because of the colder weather. The season for breeding is less time for the ticks to breed, so it reduces their populations. Right, but there's other factors as well. I think different types of animals as well. They say chipmunks carry Lyme disease. So if you have a bunch of chipmunks, there you go. And I think chipmunk population has increased quite a bit in some areas, as an example also. We used to have one that came around here, but I hadn't seen it in a couple of years. So I think predators are taking advantage of the increase in the rodents, but then we get an increase in predators. We have lots of foxes in town, and there's been some coyote sightings in town lately also. Whereas we hardly ever saw coyotes before up here in town. Out in the sticks, in the woods, yeah. But in town, we didn't see them. Now, but there has been sightings more now. So I don't know if the coyotes bring more ticks. Anyways. Yeah, taking out all those buffalo or bison was dumb. Yeah, and I don't know if you know this, but bison can interbreed with domestic cattle. So we have, mostly now we have beefalo. If you see bison or buffalo, a lot of them are what they call beefalo, or they have some modern cattle genetics, because they were breeding with cows. They can interbreed with cows. So a lot of buffalo that were captured were interbred with cows. Or, accidentally or on purpose, I don't know. Yeah, the story is killing the bison was to control the Native Americans. Yeah, that was true in some cases, in very specific cases, but most of the bison were killed for the leather, to fuel industry, the industry's need for such mundane things as leather drive belts for industrial processes. The belts that are on pulleys. For a while they were using mostly bison hides for that, because they're basically free. The hides were used for industrial purposes in many cases. Yeah, they did wipe out the bison in some areas on purpose, yes, for the purpose of denying the Native Americans in those areas their food supply. Yes, but thousands and thousands of bison were killed for their hides. Not only by settlers, but also by Native Americans trading their hides for other things. They're also killed for their meat by the thousands and thousands. So it was a mix of many things. I'm thinking about one program that I saw about endemic diseases. Endemic diseases that are now part of the equation. Yeah, diseases kill a lot of bison too. Now there's an endemic disease, I forget what it's called, that affects cattle, and it affects bison that don't have a resistance to it. I'm not sure if some of the bison that are now beefalo have a resistance to the disease because of their interbreeding with modern cattle. I know that the wild populations of buffalo or bison are susceptible. They still are susceptible to disease, or they're carrying, I forget what it's called, but it affects their population. Yeah. I don't know. I looked into it one time because I wanted to own a bison. And I could have in South Texas where we were at. There was one of my friends had property. I could have had a bison on that property. I had a horse on his property. That was fun. That horse was fun. So I looked into bison, and they don't do very well in South Texas. It's too hot, humid, and nasty. So that was out. But that would have been cool. At the time, they were not that expensive. The most expensive was the transport costs. I think the transport costs were more expensive than the bison. Yeah, but I would just buy a juvenile bison. But yeah, even then, the transport costs I think were greater than the bison itself. Redbeard, so what tribe are you? Who are you asking? I'm not part of a tribe. Marty Wybe's the guy to ask about bison, but I think he already went to bed. Yep. That was him that said that comment. He already went to sleep. Or he already went to bed, yeah. It's getting late, all right? I've been on for 2 hours and 13 minutes. What I've been doing is just evening the edges, making the edges nice and straight, improving the taper, and getting ready to do the final finishing. Yeah, this is a copper rod, 3/8 inch diameter. Oops. I also use 5/16. Hold on a second. I just messed up my camera setup. coughing my lungs out. I need water. Hold on. Okay. So what am I going to do? Let's do the base. Shall we? Let's see if I can do this on video without breaking this. Okay? All right. But I won't finish it completely. I won't sharpen it on the video. But I do want to put the base in and the barbs. All right? I still got some time. What's today? Thursday? I don't have to be up early tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. It's not like it's Saturday or Sunday or Monday especially. I have to work all day to try to put things into the auction. And I've been trying to sort flakes. I've been also trying to make bows. Getting my arrow kits together to make arrows. I just sold off a bunch of shafts that I didn't need. He bought everything. Yeah. He bought all of my silky dogwood that I had. Yeah. That opportunity just popped up all of a sudden as I was sorting through my arrow shafts. By coincidence, he contacted me and says, "What you got?" I said, "Well, I'm going to get rid of this stuff. I'll take it." "Really?" "Yeah, I'm looking for stuff." "Cool, all right." Very fortunate. Yes, happenstance. Very fortunate happenstance. But those are rare, fortunate happenstances. Anyways, I'm trying to get into making bows again. I got my setup. I got my little bow tree where I can do the tillering. I just got to set it up and take it down every time I use it. I don't have a permanent place for it yet. Yeah, what I do is I put it up against one of my fence posts. And then take it down when I've stopped using it. Take it down when I'm finished. Anyways, I'm going to start showing that on video as soon as I get more practice. I'm getting this ready to put the little thinning flakes in the base. These Pedernales points have thinning flakes that look like little flutes. Yeah. But I gotta make it look like it only took me 20 minutes to make. Those little flutes are not a big deal. They're not fancy. They're just utilitarian. But it's nice if I can do it nice and neatly. Yeah, I scooped it too much. Okay, I see how it's going to go. It's always another, I can always do it again. Some of these Pedernales points have deep concavities in the base. I think that's what the reason is, because not all the fluting attempts were successful. Or not all these thinning flake attempts were successful, so they just multiple thinning flaked it. That one went a little bit further. Yeah. Can't see. As long as it gets thin, that's what I'm looking for. And I can probably do one more on the side that's scooped. But I got to take out that little hinge right there. Let's see. Yeah, like that. Switch over to a more narrow tip. Yeah. 5/16 inch. So it's hard to see the contours. They're not that great. I tried to get rid of that lumpage right there. Wait, it's not too bad. I think I have enough convexity to try one more time at doing a little thinning flake. So yeah, I gotta be persnickety about this. When you look at the artifacts, it looks like it only took them a few minutes to do this part. So I gotta spend some time to make it look like I've done it in 5 minutes. Let's see, does this still fit or no? No, it doesn't. It does not fit. I need a rounded tip. There it goes. Not too pointy. Okay. It's not ideal, but it's all right. Yeah, that thinned it out pretty good. But on another one on the other side, I could do one more on the other side, and I think it'll be good. This is gonna focus. See, that one was good. It was a good thinning flake. This side needs another one. The first one was pretty good, but I need another one. Why do I need another one? To get it thinner. It's supposed to be thinner in the middle. If you look at the real ones, they got some thinness going on in the middle there. But they leave this part thick. Just where the blade meets the base, they leave it thick. Right? But it gets really thin down in here where they put thinning flakes. All right. Yeah, like that. This one broke up, right? Or whatever it did. But that's thin now. In the middle. A little bit lopsided. Maybe. I can fix that with some pressure flakes. And after this part's done, everything else is just pressure flaked. But sometimes they would run in percussion flakes, I think, to prepare for the notching. So I'm going to probably do some percussion flaking in the pre-notching phase. This technically is also a notch in the base. Okay? But there's also notches where the barbs go. Okay, so let's get that process started. Try to make the barbs as long as possible. which makes it more difficult, but oh well. This same process was done on Montels, apparently, also. They would do the base first before they finish out the blade. I did most of the finishing on the blade, though. But I've seen Pedernales broken ones where the blade was still really thick, and they worked mainly on the base and barbs in the beginning. But I've already got the blade pretty much thinned down. It's more risky that way, but since I'm using copper, there's less of a risk of doing it this way because copper is very precise. There's less risk of breaking it. If I was using natural tools, I probably also would start with this process first before I thin down the blade. It's so easy to snap it in half with natural tools because they pull on the edges a lot, and it requires a lot of force to get anything to flake. So there's that. It's easy to snap the blade in half if it's not really thick. So now that I got that ready, I can drive in some pre-flakes, pre-notching flakes with indirect percussion. Prislithic has a Discord. Interesting. Who is we? Who is we have a Discord? Oh, that's not going very well. Something is interfering with it. There we go. So that was that flake there. That was that flake there. It is getting thinned down for the notching. I'll fix it later. If there's a step fracture, I fix it later. You know, some Pedernales points didn't have the barbs pointing down. They just had short barbs. But on this one, I'm going to have long barbs. Theoretically. Yeah. If everything goes right. I think I gotta do this with pressure instead. I'm afraid to hit it again with percussion. Unless I can get the edge just right. Yeah, like that. Cool. All right. Yeah, like that. Yeah, it's fun. I get to use my metal tools. Oh, yes. Get in there and do some serious notching. Serious. Yeah, they did. Oops. Come on. Don't have all night. Well, let's see. Yeah, like that. Serious pop outs. These pedernales points have serious pop outs. Yep. You weren't messing around. Yeah. On this side, I need to do it. I need to do a side strike to get it thinned out before I do a good sized pressure flake. Yeah. It's too thick right now. Let's see. Alright, the camera's bouncing everywhere. My file's already getting worn down. Okay. Yes. Okay, so I should be able to do a good pressure flake now. It's a little bit too confined for a percussion flake. Let's see. This one is pretty important, so I got to make sure that the tip is free from rock dust, just in case. I can't take any chances with this particular pop out. Yeah, like that. This size is more suitable for an atlatl dart or a knife, not an arrow. Yeah. You can call it a spear, but these were thrown from atlatl darts, or these were the points on atlatl darts or knives. Or both. It's way too big for an arrow point. Arrow points are tiny back in the day. Do I have one? This particular one is also an atlatl dart point, but it's on a small side. This peternalis point is also an atlatl dart point, but at this size it might be a knife. You know, you can put it in a knife handle. This one's a little bit large. Might fit in something like this. Could also be an atlatl dart point, but probably not. It's probably too big for an atlatl dart. But they made smaller ones back in the day. Where's my favorite? Yeah, it's too big for an atlatl dart foreshaft. So it's probably a knife at this size. And I would put it in a handle similar to this, with a deeper notch. Yeah, this is my own style of knife handle. Okay. Just to answer that question, we get that question a lot. So I think that's it. I don't need to go any further with the notching. It's a little bit asymmetrical. It's not perfectly symmetrical, but that's okay. I don't have to make these symmetrical. It just looks a little bit better. So now all that's left to do is sharpen it, but I've already gone over my time by 42 minutes. It's supposed to be thickest right where the base meets the blade. So I think I've achieved that. Well, no, it's thickest up here, but that's where it usually snaps, if it's going to snap. So I like it. And if I want to make this base longer, or the stem longer, I just borrow from the barbs. Make the barbs go up. Okay? But I just need to sharpen it. And that's it. A lot of these pedernales points had bold flaking across the blade. So I think I got that. Thinning flakes here in the middle. And lots of sharpening up in the upper third. Not so much down here. They were not that sharp down here, but up here they were. I got a few of these as real artifacts. And down here, the flaking's kind of wonky on this. It's broken into thirds. You got the top third, middle third, and the bottom third. The area around the bottom third here is a lot of times wonky and not that sharpened, and it gets sharper as it goes up. So at the tip, it's pretty sharp on the real ones. Okay, this one has some translucency. This material is not too bad. It looks worse than it is. Yeah, as it gets thinner, it gets more and more translucent. Yeah, there's thinner right on the barbs. Yeah. There you go. So I would use this one as a knife if it were me. But I've seen impact fractures on stuff that looks like this too, so I think they use them for everything. It's a pretty versatile point. This would need to be a big dart. All right. Let's see, how well does it sharpen? I can try pressure flaking a little bit just to see. I'm curious to see how this sharpens this material. I'm going to call it a night. In a few minutes, I'm going to end the live stream in a few minutes. But I want to see how well this sharpens. I think it'll work. Yeah. It's so nice when the edge doesn't crush. Yeah. And crushing has to do with both technique and the material. If you have a good technique and it crushes on you, that means it's the material. Yeah, it's a little bit steppy, but that's my issues. I have these issues where right on the tip here, I have a hard time with it. I don't know what it is. I think I tend to either underestimate it or overestimate my ability there at the transition between the very tip and the rest of the blade. Yeah, like that. It's so nice that I can actually put the flaker on the edge and not have it crush prematurely. That's the same diameter as the pressure flaker, or a little bit bigger, I guess. But I can get big flakes that I can't get with pressure with the percussion rod. Yeah, see, I can't get those with pressure flakes. And I needed to thin that down. A little bit too much. That was too good. Now I gotta even it out. Now it's too fat on this side. I was supposed to say goodnight already. Oh well. Let's see. Yeah, like that. Okay. Yeah, I like it. Alright. I should stop messing with it. It sharpens nicely. To answer that question, it does sharpen nicely. I have some dull spots from the abrading, but this is sharpened here on this side. This is nice. But I gotta resharpen this side. I did some abrading. Yeah. This is a little bit thick right here on this side. But I'm afraid to hit it. Well, I'm not afraid to hit it. I just don't want to mess up the symmetry. I've messed up the symmetry before. Yeah, let's see. If I get it ready, it might work out. I might be able to get rid of that thick spot right there. It's like I'm performing surgery on this thing, switching out the scalpels. Alright. Let's see. Yeah, a little bit of crunchiness right there. I'm not that tired right now, and I think I know why. I slept in late today. That's why I'm still messing with it. But that last flake was right there. It was pretty good. I can get that later with the pressure flaking when I focus on pressure flaking. See that little mess right there? It's kind of messy. That flake went across and stopped with a little step fracture. I tried to pick that out. And there's something right here. That's just part of the stone, okay. If I hit that, I could maybe clean that up. Yeah, like that. Okay. I like it. It's nicely tapered. It doesn't show the flake scars all that well because it's kind of spotty. But I think with the correct lighting I can show the flake scar pattern. In the sunlight probably. Pedernales had bold flaking down here and persnickety flaking up top. So I need to do more persnickety flaking up on top and leave this bold flaking alone down here. Just little bitty flakes down here and then increase the length of the flakes up here. Somebody said that's so thin it's wild. I'm glad you think so. Thank you, thank you. You want to see something thinner? I made this yesterday. Now it's not thinner than the stone, but it's thinner by ratio. And this is snap in half-ish stuff. I'm afraid to pick it up and put it down. It snaps in half easy. But yeah, I like this. So this will be available in the auction. I just got to sharpen it. Yeah. Okay, let's check the chat and say goodnight. I did not make this tonight. I just put it there for display. Yeah. Just to show you what it looks like with a little arrowhead on that little dart foreshaft. Okay, let's see what we got. I'm going to look at the chat and then I'll say goodnight. Wait a second, we do some lumber. Let's see. I think things look thinner and bigger at the same time on video. Yes, yes. Let's see. AM Outdoors says it's beautiful. Thank you, thank you. Polly Souls Clay says hi. I'm here. If you here, go to another one. Let's see. He's still going, guys. I love it. I'm vibing, says Chris. The Wizard Jack Crafty. I wish. Pat, once again, I am impressed at your work with this raw chert. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, this is a Harbor Freight broken grinding stone, medium grit. Yeah, it's a lot finer than the one I normally use. The one I normally use is from an industrial grinding wheel. A friend of mine gives me these. He gets them from his work. This is extremely coarse and very tough. I can actually hammer stone with this one. As you can see, I'm going to need another one very soon. Perfect point. Chronic Doom Scroller says perfect point. Is that a spearhead? No, I would use that as a knife and not a little dart point. My criteria, which is just, educated guesswork. If this is 3/4 of an inch or wider, it's a knife. It's 1 inch wide across the neck. Usually if it's larger than 3/4 of an inch wide, it's a knife, because it's hard to justify something this wide on a little dart shaft. Okay, now it could have been a handheld spear type of situation where it's a big thick shaft, but the stem doesn't appear to be the type that would be used for a handheld thrusting spear, because the stem is so short. It would usually have a long stem, like let's say agate basin type of point where there's a long stem. That could be put onto a handheld spear easily and still be tough enough to handle the forces involved in the handheld spear thrusting. Okay, so I would think this would be a knife. And these were often resharpened down pretty short sometimes. Okay, so this is 1 inch wide here, so I would say it would be a knife. If my thumb is a good indicator of what I judge as a knife. If it fits my thumb like that, it's a knife. For me, that's my opinion. Let's see. Savannah says she wants a baby knife with this style of handle. I might start making baby knives for the auction. I have little ones. I sold them all already. I sold the handles by themselves actually, but I can make smaller ones. Yeah, it's a good idea. I should write it down. Let's make mini knives. Since I've got a request, you're probably not the only one. Let's see. Let's see, mini knives. before auction. I'll make a couple of those. I have an auction every Monday. Let's see. Chris Cox, Redbeard, the black one he showed from last night is obsidian, volcanic glass. Yep. Texas Hot Points is very nice. With the thickness, yeah, the ratio width to thickness ratio is what we normally use on this channel to judge how thin things are. Okay, so we measured this one. It's an 8-to-1 ratio. Okay, so it was like a centimeter thick and 8 centimeters wide. So this is 8-to-1. This one here, I measured in metric because it's much easier to do the math. So on the widest point, this will be like 44 or like 43 millimeter. Let's just say 43. And then I measure the thickness there. It's like a 6. Let's see. The trouble is getting this to focus right. It's 6 or 7. It looks like it might be 6, but I can't get a good picture across that. It's 6. 7-to-1. 40, let's say 42, but by 6 would be 7-to-1. That's the ratio at the widest point. Now it's thicker on here on purpose. Pedernalises are thick there. Okay? So the ratio would be different through there. But I usually measure the widest part, the thickness at the widest part to get the width to thickness ratio. And anything better than 5-to-1 or 6-to-1 is thin. 6-to-1 is where thin starts, in my opinion. Rust Matthias says hi. Okay. Let's see. All right, I'm going to say goodnight. I've been on for 3 hours. I appreciate everybody hanging in there. Let's see. Someone says they have one that they found in similar material. Let's see. That's probably possible. It's very possible. I have one made from similar material that was found in our pit in 2 pieces, practically twins, says Texas Hot Points. Sweet. Practically twins. Awesome. I'm glad. All right, let's see. Is that it? Is that it? I'm going to say goodnight. Feathered Frontiersman, good luck. Good to see you. Good luck with the ticks. Yeah. I've got insect repellent. That fancy stuff that you use to prepare your camping gear. It's got permethrin in it in a higher concentration than regular DEET or regular bug spray that has DEET. Yeah, this one's got permethrin, the stuff that's used to kill cockroaches. So I'm going to use that next time I go out looking for arrow shafts. I need a bunch of more arrow shafts because I'm running low. Big knives everybody would use and harder to make, lasts a long time. Okay. I think that's it. No more questions. Okay. Good night, guys. I'll see you tomorrow night. Same time, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 Central, 7:30 Mountain, 6:30 Pacific time. These live streams are supposed to be 2 hours, but I went 3 hours tonight because I wasn't tired. Yeah, these were not stressful pieces. Not stressful at all, actually. They worked out well. These are the two that I was working on earlier. Hold on. Yeah, I worked on three slabs tonight, and everyone wanted me to finish this one out. But yeah, I did these also from slabs. You can still see some of the original surface. I like to leave it like this because it's still the original thickness, which I like. I don't thin it down until the very last stage. You know, I don't skin these first. I do the convexity first. Okay, so there you go. See you tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.